Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Troublemaker. This is the Wargame Cup 2012 tournament brought to you by Focus Home Interactive, Eugen Systems, Intel, and of course me, Troublemaker. I will be your broadcaster, your entertainer, and your enjoyment for this evening. This is quite possibly the biggest match of the tournament. Two players who could easily have been finalists, given the number of players and the quality of players they've been eliminating this tournament. The first, more recognizable, the blue player, representing the country of NATO, or group countries. He is Bentguru, and his opponent, the eliminator of Tigga, the #1 player in the world. He's been playing fierce and destructive this tournament. His name is Fiva55. Now, there's nothing to minimize the effects of 555. He's a very high-rated player, does very well, and he's very well prospered in this tournament. Now, he's facing Bentguru, who, of course, has Bentguru's style. It's much like Gangnam Style, except a lot of marder VTS1s and some Weasel 1 MK20s. He's mixing up a little bit, though. He's got a single multi-rocket launcher, something he just basically never does. He's got a single heavy tank, another thing he never does. A lot of infantry for him. And so he's seeing a slight modification on the rush that he normally does. Now, he's got two commands here, so we will be playing something that is not entirely rushy. And we're seeing from 555, he's also going to go for a two-commander strategy. Playing kind of safe, he's got two anti-aircraft infantry stuck in the woods here with his command armor. And there should be a go. Looks like Bentguru will be making the first moves out. Slowly microing things into various control groups, and away he goes. Now, a big thing about Bentguru's style that every single player facing him has to think about is that he is going to go for some very, very high initial damage that will be hard to come back from. He'll fuel up and do another attack that'll do high amounts of damage. That's completely his style. It's got him this far in the tournament. And 555 did beat Tigga with a rush, but he is, as far as the tournament goes, a little more macro-oriented of a player. He's got two T80s here, which are kind of interesting, and will actually be fairly effective against what Bentguru is bringing. And so we're going to see this rush towards the middle, very common on this map. VABs will be leading the charge, and he's got just a small group of infantry going to rush forward, try to take the town, and get a good position. All the while, the recon helicopter of Bentguru pretty much sees everything. He's seeing the two flanks coming in, so he knows exactly what's happening. It's some kind of infantry play. And helicopters doing a little bit of dance together, just trying to spot whatever they can before this inevitable battle happens. Now note with this this group units, he's using these BTR-70 solos, which are basically the equivalent of the marder VTS1, and it looks like both players have fairly similar builds, and how it ends up will matter a lot on control. Of course, both these players are very good for controlling their units, and immediately Bentguru does take the center location. However, it looks like there's just enough optics here to actually see these vehicles, see these infantry, and 555 might be able to do some play here with this until the army of Bentguru shows up. 555 taking all the vehicles first, all these VABs, and looks like lots of Dana artillery fire is going to pound this location out and give 555 a fairly minor opening lead, and Bentguru just quickly flirting all the infantry into various locations of the woods as the rest of his army is coming up. Now, he does have this multi-rocket launcher, which will be very key. It really only can fire 1 or 2 volleys. I think probably 1. But it will do high amounts of damage, and it has very good morale damage. So note he's not moving up all of his units at once. He's going to move them off in the groups. Doesn't want to reveal too much to his opponent. If you see too many units, he might pull back, and he doesn't want that. And looks like Bentguru might be able to snake this center location, which is very, very key. Now moving his flank around the east as the remainder of his army will come up and no doubt cover around the west. The multi-rocket launcher is in a fairly good position and should start winding up any second now. He's got to figure out where the army of 555 are located at. All the while, 555 is actually wiping out quite a few vehicles. He has a lot of these T62s and T80s, and their long distances is completely dominating these Weasel MK20s. Also, without vision here, he's in a lot of trouble. The Shalos are moving up to try and pick off what they can as the army of Bentguru retreats, and here comes another side flank from Bentguru, trying to wipe out infantry using these marder VT size and these Weasel MK20s. But this has just been highly ineffective. This is not something that Bentguru is used to seeing. He is not used to seeing his attacks get so easily fought back like this. And now Fiva55 has a very substantial lead and looks like he might be able to get position at middle. All the while, it looks like Bentguru going to try and move his command armor up the Foxtrot. There is a flank of infantry going to come around the back here. That could be dangerous. But no, it looks like it might be trying to go for Juliet. No, it's going to try and take this town location. Key town location. And wow, this is pretty much it for Bentguru as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't know about his practice play, but I'm not sure if he's practiced a lot in a situation where he's losing. That's got to be a different thing for him. So here comes the multi-rocket launcher, getting a nice sizable target area and actually doing a little bit of damage. Looks like a single shallow, and in fact, Bentguru is mostly fine. Like nothing really big happened there. It's a 100-point difference, but it is enough to make a game changer. But here's a kind of a scary situation. There's a command armor here right in the open, and the BTR-60 Pi is going to try and chase it down. He does in fact see it, and suddenly we saw MK20 comes in nowhere. Some marder VTSI covering this back flank, and this could be the mistake. I put mistake in quotation marks because tactically this was a smart move that could get Bentguru back into the game. With all these infantry in the open, with so many anti-infantry carriers, looks like so much is going to get down. And note that Bentguru is targeting down the vehicles first because the vehicles are going to be able to escape, whereas the infantry are not. And whoa, engine install, that is not good. That could create another small points divide in favor of Bentguru, and now it looks like they're still roughly similar. Not too. So it's looking roughly even actually. The artillery is making a huge difference here for Fiva55, who basically, with artillery, my thought is this: you are trading static damage in exchange for static gains, and as long as you can keep supplied, you're fine. And hold the phone, we have a command armor here for Bentguru, which is in a little bit of trouble. It's shaking right now. If it takes any more morale damage, it's gone. And the infantry 455 not going to all give chase. Some of them just want to take this position. And really, Bentguru is in a fairly awful scenario right now. He might have to just all in, because he's got to find some way to get a command armor into a reinforcement point. And he's got to do damage. That's a big key. Fiva55 is actually playing insanely well, and Bentguru is playing very greedily. You know, a commander with no defense, that would not be acceptable. Bentguru's own push would just knock that over. And the commander will in fact get secured. Needs a lot of supply, however, and that could be a pretty limiting factor in any future pushes. All the while, a lot of this Dana fire is just doing tremendous damage, not only to the land itself, but also to the tanks. And here he goes. Bentguru is going to go for a little bit of a push here. Needs to do some pretty significant damage. Keep in mind, there are some T-80s and T-62s in the defensive position. And will Bentguru be able to strike the amount of damage he needs to do? So far, we're seeing some trading, and trading just simply will not be good enough at this point. He needs to do damage. Marder VTSI going to try and target the T-80, actually moving out into the open. Completely vulnerable, but Bentguru already retreating, already losing too much. And Fiva55 maintains his lead. In fact, goes up quite a bit more. He's got a 60-point lead now. The auto cannon fire, the marder VTS1 just not doing enough, and it turns out the counter to Bentguru is tanks. Well, that doesn't sound right at all. Well, also kind of a sad situation. The command armor is running low on fuel. If it moves around too much without a supply truck coming around, he could be in trouble. So he's going to use this Gazelle helicopter to try and spot these infantry here, and just use what he has available to try and pick off what he can. There isn't too much infantry here, and Fiva55 just plays really, really well. And note, he's not even trying to move a command armor here into Delta yet. He's not going to risk that. He's not playing very risky at all. This is just standard good play from Fiva55, who's now just trying to continue pushing forward into the Gulf location, taking these key forest locations so he can stage some anti-tank and tank weaponry in them freely to target down all the stuff in Bentguru. And eventually, yeah, he might even get a command armor and go for Delta. So this is basically what I said would happen. Now, note, the recon helicopter out of the range of the Przistrella won. Or was it? Looks like it wasn't. It might just been very lucky. But now that's gone, like, this is mostly a secure location again, and we can go back to playing pretty standardized. With the cleanup of infantry here, the tides will turn slightly in favor of Bentguru once more. but only slightly. It's a very close game. These are two excellent players, and two excellent players who haven't actually been struggling in the tournament. Neither player has really seen a challenge. I mean, they've seen good players, but they haven't seen challenges. And that's a huge distinction, because when Fiva55 took on Tigga, it wasn't a challenge. He just raffle stomped him. Raffle stomp, of course, meaning that he beat him jokingly with a wrench. Now here's an interesting play coming for 5-5. Will he go for the hotel? No, actually he's just going to reposition this commander into the woods to a more secure location so he can not get helicopter all in so easily. And we're going to see small deployments of infantry. And here comes a big giant flank of BTR shallow, some infantry, and more infantry, and the two T-80 tanks. So this is all just recycled units from here, from this delta flank, and he's just moving them into a position to try and strike at the real power center of Tigga's army, which is, or not Tigga, sorry, Bentguru's army, which is of course this wooded location here. The Leopard 2A4s are there, of course, and this is getting nuts for Bentguru. He doesn't lose this badly. It's never even this close. And now we have two players who have just been dominating the tournament, neck and neck. One player makes a mistake, the other player makes a mistake. One player makes a mistake, the other one makes a mistake. And speaking of mistakes, here might be one. We have a lot of shallows running low on fuel. A T-80 going to run out of fuel, not going to be able to go into play. And 4 T-62 is going to move around and might get a couple of snipes here. Bentguru already taking the lead from the amount of damage he was able to do. The marder VTS-1 going in for another shot and able to get one T-62. And T-62 can't fire back in time because every shot that comes from Bentguru is dangerous. So Bentguru taking a 50-point lead there, now at the 70. Pretty significant. But this gives the information to the Dana that he can now in fact fire on that location and get some significant damage in. All the while, 555 feels like he's adopted Tigga's old style, of which he... And it was really good. I liked it. He would make giant flanks, do very strong surround, and when the time was right, he'd make small incidental pushes forward. It was very potent then, it's very potent now. And a big key to this course is to always have a nice collage of mobile units that will be able to reinforce areas. And this feels like it could be a mistake. The shallows are coming in. They already get one marder VTS-1. Artillery fire is pounding the location and has in fact stunned one of Tigga's marders. And the Leopard is actually forced to move up, reveal its presence, and try and deal with these shallows as best it can. There's still 4 of them left. One T-62 coming up, and there's another 2 as well. So this might be just too many units here for Bentguru, who might have to retreat. Might have to completely forfeit the middle. But whoa, we have a lot of these Weasel MK20s and Martyr VTS-1s coming out into the open. Maybe trying to create a flank, and look at this, he's got Marder VTS-1s everywhere, he's got flanks everywhere, and he's just moving in with a lot of units. He's fueled everything up, and as 555 was ready to make a play, so was Tigga. The Leopard 2A4 is now completely in the open. This is a very valuable unit, 145, and it can't take too much more damage or its stabilizers will be screwed and it will get shot down. All the while, the flank here by Bentguru looks like it's cleaned up most of the stuff on this edge, and there is a command armor here from 555. He's trying to take an economic lead, which of course would have driven Bentguru to attack. He's hitting from so many different locations. He's also got these heavy hogs here, which is a newer addition to his playstyle. And we still MK20 gonna rush forward as a Marder VTS-1 pounding with the damage in the back. And just really wiping out a lot of stuff. 555 still trading cost effectively, however. These Wii cells are not cheap, and the Marder VTS-1s are not doing as much damage as they normally would do. And if you're ever wondering, like, do professional players just have units that take more damage? Well, the answer is yes. They most definitely take more damage than average. Mine just instantly died to infantry. The Leopard 2A4 not being microed properly, getting microed right into the open. It needs to get pulled back. This is a very valuable tank. Bentguru moves it back immediately. Very good. And gets the TO55. That's a very key unit. A morale damping unit. And he's going to rally in some infantry to try and wipe out this command armor. Now you have to see that both these players are not playing too aggressively. And they're not overstating their welcome. Both of these players have been playing effectively. That is, they take the hits when they can do the damage, and they do the damage only when they're not taking too many hits. Now they pull back, they rally in more units, and they prepare for another attack. They're not losing any more units than they have to. The marder, the VTS1s of Bentguru all stay alive. The shallows, however, most of them die. There's about half of them left. So that's something that Fiva55 is going to have to keep an eye on. These things, of course, are a very limited supply and do very high damage. And here we go. Fusiliers on top of the VPZU squad. With the Spartan support, this should be more than enough to deal with this VPZU special forces. But having said that, there is more Dana fire hitting on this location. It's caused the Fusiliers to full-on retreat. And actually, the VPZU might be able to survive. In fact, it will. With not much health left, though. Keep in mind, the Spartan is pretty well forsaken and very, very successful. Whoa, here we go. 4 VABs from Bentguru also going to come in and try and wipe out this squad. And now he's secured the middle location, so he's going to be able to flood units through there relatively easy. And here comes a small move by Bentguru. He's moving up with 20 chasseurs and, oh, we sell him K20. There are 3 Scots moving up from Fiva55, which, if he micros properly, should be able to kill half of them with relatively easiness. All the while, we have the shallows moving up into a support role. And the Leopard, completely empty everything, transaxle broken, completely vulnerable. And if it gets one more shot on it, it's dead. And that is a huge game changer. Fiva55 already is taking a very significant lead. He got rid of most of the marder VTS1s in this corner. He's got rid of most of the marder VTS1s, period. The core, the crux of a Bentguru army. I don't even know what he would do without it. There is a command armor here, but the confidence of Fiva55 for not pulling back that command armor, very, very good. Oh, well, the armies are looking very one-sided right now. It looks as though the number of units for Fiva55 is just massively more than that of Bentguru. Even pulling a tank ahead, a T62, into a position to try and strike down targets as they move. And Bentguru might be trying to just push all in right now. Might be panicking a bit. There is some rocket fire on this location. And no, looks like in fact he will move back. He was just trying to dodge some fire. 1 infantry carrier from Bentguru rushing forward. Doesn't look like it's going to do too much. Might have been a misclick. And Fiva55 is really dominating this game now. 200 points ahead. There's a patent come out for Bentguru. And this is the part of the play that you don't see from Bentguru. What happens when you get to the 30-minute marker? This is a point in time when Bentguru has no experience. He has no experience with super long games like this. There's no game plan for him at this point. And this main battle tank is actually getting gunned down pretty badly. It's only got 2 hit points left, and this could be a game ender just right here. The M60A3 patent is not a cheap tank to invest in. All the while, the Leopard still has 1 hit point left and could die to artillery fire. It's only got 1 hit point. 1 lucky artillery shot will get it, and that'll give the massivest of massivest leads to Fiva55. He is, however, killing the recon off. The mutt is down. And he'll know he hits the Leopard when he sees the scoreboard switch. That's a good indicator. Keep in mind the patent is also dead. Leopard somehow still survives. A supply truck will come up just in time to... But will it actually have enough supply? Because it's actually quite expensive supply to repair these things. And marder VTS1s, looks like they're on the fire position command. Is that correct? Yes, they are. And so they're just going to shell out this wood location, hoping to get something. All the while, this move will reveal his location. T62 does take 1 hit, but is swiftly off. And now we see some more infantry from Monsieur Fiva55 trying to reclaim the middle. Middle, of course, is very important because you want to be able to flood your units through here relatively safely. Nobody actually ever goes through the middle, of course. Everyone always attacks on the sides, but it's the thought that counts. Missed a single Fusilier squad, not too big of a loss, and look at this, T80s running out of fuel again. Of course, this is a lot of money in the line. The winner of this match actually gains $300 minimum, with an upward, I think, $1,500 and a laptop, so it's a fairly important game. No player wants to leave prematurely, similar to pretty much every game that will happen in this round. And we have actually 2 main battle tanks for Bentguru. Try and hit the Motos Jockey down. In fact, 555 is actually able to secure the entire middle location. There's not really much left here for Bentguru, and he should be tapping it relatively soon. He just doesn't have anything. He's at this point, I can probably prematurely declare that he is out of the tournament, and nothing he does will probably make a difference. He does have a lot of these big, powerful, potent tanks, but in order for him to get back in this tournament, he'd need to destroy his enemies' big, powerful, potent tanks, specifically these double T80s, which have been around the entire game and doing very well with that. Now, there is also the opportunity for the AMX AUF-1, codenamed OFI, to hit a command armor. It has happened, and will probably happen again. Absolutely possible. But at this point, the Troublemaker is declaring this a victory for 555. He's actually taken out one of the patents, and now just streaming hits on this fourth location. The DPs going to bravely rush forward, but quickly pull back, realizing that's not a good idea. Here comes the T62s and T80s. If there was an opportunity for Bentguru, it would be right here, but there's just too much stuff there. The Leopard 2A still somehow alive. It always amazes me how really great players can keep these high, super powerful tanks alive amidst everything. And gets one more shallow down, but alas, 500 points too much. And it appears that he's going to go for a strategy in which he hopes to get lucky. The OFI has to hit some pretty key units right now. Shelling out a random location in hope that there's somebody there, but there wasn't. And it's kind of sad, you know, big fan of the Bentguru, but it looks like he's been bested around pretty much every corner right now. In fact, he's going to lose India fairly soon, and 555 is in that kind of position where he can just rush all his tanks forward and win. But there is money on the line. And yeah, he's got a huge lead, but he just doesn't want to risk it. So right now he's just using small groups of infantry to do what he's been doing for most of the game. And he's going to pick off whatever he can with that. Oh, transport helicopters. That's a weird mix. But yes, why not get some more helicopters? That's a new style. I think Bentguru started doing that. He's the first guy to do that. Basically, when you're near the end of the game, you should get a lot of helicopters that you would have otherwise not got, because helicopters are very good against defending against all lanes. And look at this, he's putting out lots of anti-aircraft. Like, he's very aware of like what could potentially be coming, because Bentguru has done this before. Like, this is not new. I mean, basically, it's a good choice. It's a good choice on the part of Bentguru, and any player chooses to do this. Basically, at the end of the game, you go for a lot of helicopters. Helicopters don't do very well against most things, but they're very mobile, so they're going to be able to go around nice parts of the map and kill command armors. But unfortunately, it's not going to do anything right now because 555 knows this is coming. He's been rallying out non-stop anti-aircraft and helicopters to try and deal with this, and this flock of helicopters should be unaffected. But look at the great micro here. I mean, just I know he's gone, but that was pretty significant. Most people do that kind of micro and those sort of helicopter splits. They do them like well ahead of time. He did them on the spot. That's impressive. So, to finish off this game so I can go beat my barking dog. Looks like there's just too much here. And there's Strelka, Praga. Anything he runs over will immediately die. He's doing some damage here. In fact, he's able to get a lot of the anti-aircraft units, but it's just not a good trade, and he's just not able to get any kills here on command armors. Maybe he got this one. That'd be interesting. But alas. No, he did not. It's over here in the corner. It's hiding. 585 just knew it was coming. Like, it's just not, it's not a surprise. 585 showing himself to be a better player, much better player than Bentguru, and 585 will move on to the money bracket. So good on him. And oh, did I mention? This is something interesting. Both these guys are medical students, eh? So really, I'm thinking that since they're going to become doctors, they might as well contribute to the Troublemaker should get into beta fund. Just a thought, 555. A $300 bribe to Eugen Systems might look pretty good. Please.